Today we're going to be making a fun and very eclectic folio in under 1 hour. So let's get to it. Today we're going to be creating a super fun folio. For this project, I'm going to be using just heavyweight cardstock. I also have this beautiful collection here. It has been on my stash for a long time. It's called Cottage by DCWV. And yeah, I think I have about maybe half of three quarters of these paper collections. So I'm going to just through my stash and see what I have to work with, and I thought this will be really pretty. Also, let me share with you my new paper cutter. Look how pretty this is. I recently picked this up. I wanted to just kind of refresh my space. I have been cleaning the studio, organizing. Yeah, I just wanted something pink and pretty, and I love how this looks here on my desk. So I also do have my other one that I still love and works perfectly fine, but it's always good to refresh the space a little bit. So I'm gonna have this link below if you guys kind of want to see it. It is I find it on Amazon and I love it. I also like these because if you have watched my previous videos, my other paper cutter it's just a little bit too loud here when I'm cutting, and this one is nice and smooth, doesn't make that noise. So hopefully you guys will appreciate that. But yeah, so we're gonna get started with these. So again, I'm gonna be using heavyweight cardstock, and for my covers I'm going to be doubling some of the heavyweight cardstock here, so we have a thicker base. So I am going to cut 2 pieces of my heavyweight. We're gonna cut these at 9.5. I want this to be a large folio. Okay, and we are going to keep these at 8.5. Okay, so 9.5 by 8.5, and then I'm going to do 2 pieces of 9.5 by 7.5. So 9.5 by 7.5. So let me just make sure these two are lined up together, and there we go. Then we're going to score. And also I do have a cutting guide for this project, so if you're interested on that, I will have it a link on the description box. It's gonna be on my website here if you want to kind of cut and score your pieces ahead. So along the 8.5, I am going to score at 1 inch. Okay, so we're gonna do the same for both of these. Score at 1 inch here, and we are going to fold along the score lines. Let me use this piece and fold and fold here, and then we are going to glue together this 1 inch section is going to be my spine. So I am going to glue these together here. Okay, so we're gonna double up on that spine. So I'm going to add the glue and place these right on top. Okay, so that is going to be the base here for this folio. Now we are also going to double up these pieces. So I'm going to glue the 2 pieces that we cut at 7.5 by 9.5. We're gonna glue these on the cover. So I'm gonna glue it actually on the front here and or on the outside. Okay, so here is one. Let's do that like that, and then we're going to just press down And I'm going to glue the other one on the back. Okay, so just kind of double up on the cardstock here. Okay, so place this one on top. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm just going to press down and press down. Okay, so now this is a lot more sturdy and stronger, and we're going to start adding some fun elements here. So I'm going to cut one piece. This is going to be 8.5, and I'm going to cut these by 8. Okay, so 8.5 by 8, and we are going to score along the 8 inches. I'm going to score at 3/4. Okay, so we're gonna score at 3/4, and we're going to fold these pieces here, and then I'm going to cut another page, and this is going to be 7.25. Okay, so 7.25 here, and I'm going to do this by 8. 7.25 by 8. And so we're going to score along the 8 inches at 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to score on this side, and we're going to fold, and I'm going to grab this page that we just cut and score, and I'm going to glue these along the bottom. And let's add the glue. Okay, so we're gonna add the glue and place this along the bottom of the page and press down. Okay, so press down just like that, and then I'm going to cut another piece. I'm going to use this piece here, and this is going to be 3.5. So I'm just going to cut right here. This is going to be 3.5 by 7, and so we're going to score along the 7 inches at 1/2 inch and fold along the score lines. Okay, and then we're going to cut another piece here. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to cut this piece at 4.5. Okay, so 4.5, and I'm going to keep these at 3 inches. Okay, so 4.5 by 3, and we're going to score. For this piece, I'm going to make a pocket. So along the 4.5, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and at 4. And along the 3 inches, I'm going to score at 2.5. And then this is gonna be a pocket. So we're gonna cut the corners there where your score lines meet, and we are going to fold along the score lines. Okay, and then I'm going to put this pocket on top of this page here. So let's add the glue, and add the glue, and then we're gonna place this at the bottom of the page and press down. Okay, so now this small page, we're gonna put it at the center of this first one that we added, So this is gonna come down at the center and press, I'll place this here, and then we're gonna press down. Okay, so here we have a pocket, here we have this flap that opens down, and then we have a larger flap that opens down again. And I'm going to cut one more piece, and this one is going to be 6 inches, so 6 by 7 1/4. And we're going to score along the 6 inches. We're gonna score at 1/2 inch. And there we go. So now I'm just going to fold these along the score line, and I'm going to glue these along the top of the page. Okay, so I'm going to add my glue and place this piece here along the top of the main page. Okay, and press down. So we're gonna press down, and then this is going to open up, and I want to close this either here, or actually I'm gonna close this one on top, and I'm going to use some of my papers to create a little insert for this pocket, and that is gonna be our closure. So I'm gonna use this piece here, and we're gonna cut these at, I'm gonna do 6.5. Okay, and I'm gonna keep this whole length, so this is gonna be by 5. So 6.5 by 5, and we're going to score along the 6.5 at 3 1/4. Okay, whoops, there we go. And we're just gonna fold along the score line, and this is going to be a little insert for these pockets that we have here, and just kind of be the closure for this whole section. And okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding my cardstock, my design paper here. So let's put this to the side, and let's pick some of our design paper. So I love the spring colors on this collection. I think it's so pretty. I'm going to use maybe this page and combine that with, oh, I love the home page also. So maybe I'll use, oh, maybe I'll save that for the cover. That is really pretty. Oh, we do have a few of those. Let's do some of these. Oh, this also will be cute for the cover, but we do have a couple of pages here. So let me start with that. And we are going to cut these here. I'm going to cut these at, first I'm gonna take this out. Right, that's good. And then we're gonna cut these at 7. So let me move this over, and this is going to be 7, and I guess I could do this top here, which is 5.5. So we're gonna cut this at 5.25. Okay, so 7 by 5.25, and I'm going to use this mushroom piece along the top. Yeah, I like the mushroom for this first page. And we're just gonna place that here. Actually, let me center this a little bit better here. And there we go. And then I'm going to add that other one, and we're gonna place this one here. So this is going to be 7 3/4, and I will double check my measurement here. This should be 8 inches. Oh, this is not 8. Okay, so we're gonna cut this at 7 1/4. Lately my memory has been playing tricks with me. Okay, so 7 1/4 by 7. Yes, okay, 7 1/4 by 7, and that is going to be this back piece here. And for this page, I'm not going to be using any magnets. I think with the closure that we're adding, it should be enough. But of course, you're welcome to add magnets if you want to add one here to put that in there. But again, once we add this little piece, closure piece, and that's going to go right there like that. Oh, I have to, let me re-glue this piece here. Okay, so that we have, that's gonna go there. Maybe now I can use these for that little section there. So this piece is going to be, I'm gonna measure it here because again, my memory is just not there today. Okay, so that is gonna be 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So let's cut these at 2 1/4. There we go. And then by 3 1/4 here. Okay, and then this is going to be right on this little piece. And I won't cover everything just to save a little time here, but just trying to make at least the front of the page look pretty on this page. Okay, now for this back, I'm going to cut, I'm just going to use this long piece, and this is going to be 3 1/4. I'm going to do this by 5 1/2, and then we're just going to put that inside the pocket on this piece. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. And again, that's gonna close like that. And then for the piece here on top, maybe I will just use the same design. Yeah, that would be perfect. So I'm just gonna cut this at 3 inches. Okay, so that's gonna go right there, and that fits perfect on this page. Okay, there we go. So that is going right at the center, and then you can decorate this a little bit more, add more paper on the inside, but I think that it's so cute for the front. I actually love the combination of these colors. Okay, so now let's do something here for the back. So I'm gonna cut another piece of cardstock. Maybe let's do this at 5 1/2. There we go. 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I'm going to score along the 5 1/2 at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then fold along the score line, and then let's bring back our page, and I'm gonna put this piece right there. Okay, so along the left side, I'm gonna add this piece and then press down. Okay, so that's gonna go like that. Press down, and then I'm going to cut this other piece. Let's cut these at 4 1/2. Okay, and then this is going to be by 8 1/2, and then just score along the 8 1/2 at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then fold along the score line, and we can add some glue and place these along the top. Whoops, excuse my dog. Okay, so we're gonna just put that along the top here, just kind of creating a little cascade elements on this page. Okay, so I like that. Let's pick some design paper. Since I want to use this paper collection, I'm going to be picking a new design here, and let's see. I love that very colorful page, but I love the back too. Okay, let's go for these, and maybe shall we use, oh, this one's cute little cut aparts. I like the blue. Oh, I think I'm gonna go for, well, this is flowers on flowers, so maybe something that is not flowers. This green. Okay, perfect. So let's start with that, and we're gonna go ahead and cut first this piece. Here I'm going to do 7. Okay, so let's do this at 7 by 8.25. Okay, and then this is going to go back on this page right here. So I'm going to add my glue. Okay, so that is going right here. Okay, I'm not going to be using, again, magnets. I do want all of these pages to kind of look like they're all, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want them to be all tight. I want them to be all kind of loose and more of like a flowing type of project here. So I'm going to use this for these next page. So first I'm going to cut these at 8.25. Okay, and then we're gonna do one at 4.75, and then I'm going to cut this piece at 4.25 by 7.75. Okay, and let's go ahead and glue this down. So this is going to go on that front panel. Place that right there. I love these flowers and the little birds, so cute. And then for this back, I'm going to actually use the back. Okay, so let's glue this piece and place that right there. Okay, there we go. So again, different layers, colors, and then of course you will do another one here, so I'll do that later. So now we're gonna bring our base. I'm going to bring my base page, and I'm going to glue this piece on the center here on our spine, and we're gonna glue this closest to the inside edge, or to the right side score line, okay, on the right side of the spine. There we go. And we're gonna place that right in there. So now I'm just going to press and down, and press down here. Okay, so we have basically this first section, and I'm going to be adding more sections here, and then of course another one for the back, and just kind of see what we come up with here at the end. So I think for the back I want to add a pocket, so I'm going to start with that for this next step. So I'm going to cut this piece this is going to be 10 and a half. So let's start at 10 and a half. And maybe by 7 and a half. Okay, so 10 and a half by 7 and a half. And then I'm going to score along the 7 and a half at half an inch. Okay, 7 and a half, I'm gonna score at half an inch. And along the 10 and a half, I'm going to score at half an inch and at 10. And we're going to cut the corners here to make this into one large pocket for the back. Okay, so by adding this pocket, we're also making our cover even, thicker, the back cover. All right, so now let's open this up, and I'm going to add the pocket, and we're going to have that opening on the right. Okay, so let's add the glue and add the glue here. Place that right there like that. Okay, and then we are just going to press down, and press down. Okay, so here's our pockets on the right side. Now I'm going to be adding some elements there on top. So let me cut one piece at 5.5 by 8.5, and then I'm going to cut another piece at 7 by 5.5, and I'm going to score the first piece along the 8 inches. I'm going to score at half an inch, or sorry, along the 8.5, we're going to score at half an inch. Okay, and fold. And then this second piece, we are going to score along the 7 inches at half an inch also. Okay, and fold along the score lines, and then I'm going to bring this back, and I'm going to glue this, the larger one, along the top. Okay, so that will go here, center of this page, press down, and then I'm going to add the other piece here. Okay, this one I'm going to glue on top of the one that we just added, so that is gonna go right there, and add the glue and place that right there on top and press down. Okay, so now this is going to open down. This whole thing is gonna open up like that, and then press and press down. Okay, so now let's add a fun like belt on these back here. So let's see if I have any scraps. Okay, I might just cut probably a new piece. Yeah, so let's cut 2 pieces. I'm going to do 2 pieces of 2, so I'm gonna cut this at 4 and at 2. Okay, so let's do this by 6.5. And we're going to score along the 6.5 at 1/2 inch. And same thing here, 1/2 inch. And then we're going to fold along the score lines. And then we're going to glue the 2 belts. I'm going to add 1 on each side here. So I'm going to lift this up so we can really see. And this is the space here. Basically, we're putting those on top of the pocket. So I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to put 1 over here. Press and down. And then I'm going to add that other one. I'm actually going to put this one on the inside of the pocket, so that way my belt can also grab whatever I put on my pocket so it won't fall down. Okay, so we're just going to put that little piece here and then make sure they're lined up together. Okay, so I'm just going to press down, open these up, and press down here. Okay, so now these 2 are gonna hold all of that and then close on top, and also it's gonna hold what is going to be in your pocket. Okay, so now let's add some paper. Oh, and I will add, I think instead of adding magnets, I'm going to add maybe a sliding loop for this piece. So I'm going to cut a piece. Let's do maybe 1.5. So let's do 1.5 by, let's do this by 5. Okay, and we're going to score along the 5 inches. Let's move this to the side. I'm going to score at 2 1/8 and add 4 1/4. Okay, and then we're going to fold and add some glue here. So this is going to be our belt buckle pretty much. All right, so let's bring this out and let's try this. So this is gonna go through one of these, and then you're gonna add the other one and just close your belt. How cute is so? I'm going to use this page. I love the color here, and we're going to cut 2 pieces at 1 3/4. So that is going to go there by 5 3/4. Okay, so 2 of those, 1 3/4 by 5 3/4, and we're gonna put this on here, these belt pieces. So let's move this and place 1, and then you will cut 2 more for the inside or for the back, but I'm just gonna put this one over here. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Oh, I'm gonna keep this open so I can continue adding my paper. I think I'm gonna pick another page, and this one is 6.5 and the one on the back is 8. So I'm going to cut 2, let's see, let's pick another page here. So what should we do? I'm probably gonna go for this color and the blue. Oh, this blue is really pretty. All right, let's use all of this. So we are going to cut this at 5 1/4. So let me cut both of these at 5 1/4 here. Okay, so 5 1/4, and then one is going to be by 7 3/4. and one is going to be by 6 1/4. Okay, and then we can start gluing these pieces. So I'm just gonna put this here, place that, and then this will go here on top. It looks upside down. Okay, so that is gonna be there. Now for the back, this will be let's see if this will be even big enough. And for that, it's gonna be 6 3/4. May not work because we have that opening there. So let me just pick another bigger page. Do I want to, let's see, I kind of like this blue. I'm gonna use one of these. We have two, so, and we're gonna cut these at 6 3/4. Okay, so let's do 6 3/4 here by 9 1/4. Okay, and then we can put these on the back right there. So let's add the glue and place these, there we go, oops, down. And I do want something little, maybe I'll use this glue to put on the back. So I'm going to just cut a small piece, maybe we'll do 2 1/2 by 9 1/4 here, and then we can put these just in the inside of the pocket. So let's glue these down. Okay, so there we go. So now we have a little view of that, and I love the color. I think I said that a million times. So it's just something about this mustard yellow. It just looks so eclectic. Okay, so I have this little piece. Maybe we can put that there. We can probably do the green, or we can do the same color that we have on the belt there. So I think that would actually, that's probably not a bad idea. So let's cut these. This is going to be 1 1/4. So that's a small piece there, by about 1 3/4. So like right about there. And then we can add this little piece right here. There we go. So now that kind of blends in. I like that, how that looks. So look at that. So now we have our back panel right there. Maybe I should, let's press down on this piece of paper. Oop. Let's add more glue. And okay, so now I want to add another page here. So I'm gonna add something on top of this hinge, and I'm going to do 2 pieces. Okay, so let's cut 2 pieces at 4 1/2, and let me do this at 7. Okay, so 4 1/2 by 7. And we're going to score along the 7 inches. I am going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. Okay, and then same for the other one, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then I'm going to fold and fold along the score lines, fold and fold. Then I'm going to do 2 pieces at, let's do this at 6. Okay, so we're gonna do 6 by 5, or maybe by, let's do by 4.5. Okay, 6 by 4.5. And we are going to score along the 4.5 at 1/2 inch. Okay, so let's do 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and then we're going to fold along the score lines. And I'm going to add these pieces here on top of this. You want your score lines to be along the left side, and then I'm just going to add the glue, and we're going to line these up, press down, and then I'm just gonna do the same for the other one. Okay, so there we go. Press down and press down. And before I glue this, I'm going to add some paper to this. So let's cut. Let's see. I am going to cut. Oh, this is probably a good piece here. So we're gonna cut this at 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 of those. So let me this one probably work. So 5 3/4 or 3 3/4, and we're gonna put these pieces on those top panels. Okay, so I'm just gonna add one here, and then one for that other one. Add the glue. Okay, so that's gonna go there. And then for the back, I'm going to cut 2 pieces. These are going to be 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. So 1 and 2. I love how quiet this cutter is. I think it's so much better. Okay, I still love my other one though. I will still use it. Okay, it's just nice to have options, you know. Sometimes the other one will just like give me headaches because it was just too loud. Okay, so that's gonna go there, and then I'm going to add this one here. Add some glue. And oops, again, I'm not using magnets, but you are welcome to add a magnet on this flap. Yeah, so I think this look really cute. And then you do the same size for the back. I'm gonna leave the back open, and let's open this up. Open that, and I'm going to add this 1/2 inch, the first 1/2 inch down onto the spine, and then we're gonna put that on top of the other 3/4 inch that we already glued. Okay, so I'm just gonna add one along the top, and then you want to make sure that you center this. So this is gonna go up here. Okay, so press down right there, and then this one is going to go down over here. So these are like half pages. There you go. So cute. This is exactly what I wanted. I want things to kind of naturally like open up and, you know, just kind of flow with the book. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding a design on this inside flap, but I love how this is coming out. Let me know what do you think so far, and let me know if you're crafting with me as we are making this project together, or if you're rewatching, and if you have made at least one of these, please tag me on Facebook or Instagram. I love to see your completed projects, and let me know also on the comments as well. Okay, so now let's get back to the page construction. So I'm going to cut one piece at 9 by 7.5, and we're going to score along the 7.5. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and fold. Okay, and then I want to do kind of like a side, little bit of a cascading page. So I'm going to cut the next page at, let's do 8.5. Okay, and I'm going to do this by 6.5 right there, and score at 1/2 inch along the 6.5 folds. Now we are going to glue this one on top of the first one that we cut. Make sure your score line is on the left side, and that's gonna go right there on top, and add the glue. Place that right there. Okay, so very flowy pages. I want pages that are uneven. I want cascading effects, being able to see the page on the back. And the next one I'm going to cut at 6 by, I'm gonna do this by 6.5, and score at 1/2 inch along the 6 inches, and then we're going to fold along the score line and add this one there. So I'm just gonna center that on the left side right there. I know it's super hard to see the black on the black. Actually, this needs to go higher. And there we go. And then press down. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to put all of that onto our left panel here, and again I'm just gonna glue these on the left side. Okay, so all of that goes right here. So flap, and then this flap. Press down, and press all of that. Now we are going to add, I think I'm going to add another piece on the other side, and let's cut a new piece here. I'm gonna do this one at 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, and score at 1/2 inch along the 5.5 right there, and fold. Okay, then I'm going to cut another page, and this is going to be 9.5. I think this will be by 3 inches, yes. Okay, so 9.5 by 3, and we're going to score along the 3 inches at 1/2 inch, and along the 9.5 we're going to score at 1/2 and at 9. And let's cut the corners, and then we're going to fold along the score lines. Okay, so fold, and then we're going to bring this piece back, and I'm going to glue the pockets on the right side, and on the right side you also have your score line. Okay, so we're gonna add the glue and add the glue here and line this up and press down. Okay, so press down. And now let's go ahead and add some paper on this page. So I'm gonna use this green and cut this at 8.25. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead. This is by about 4.5, but I'm going to glue this inside the pocket. Okay, so we're just gonna add this piece here, and then for the actual pockets I can probably use this color, and again we're gonna cut this at 8.25, and this is going to be by 2.25. And we're just gonna add this piece here. There we go. And now let's bring back our page, and I'm going to open these pieces and glue this on the right side, still of the front cover. Okay, so front cover, but we're gonna glue this on the right side. So we're just gonna put that right there. Make sure you stay clear from your bending line. Okay, and then open that up, press down. So now this is all gonna close, and then this is going to tuck into the pocket to keep all of that closed. Isn't that neat? I love how that looks. And now we're going to continue adding our paper. So let's select some new pages here. So I think I want this one again, and I want more of that blue page. Okay, so let's use this. If I don't have that other blue, I want to use this blue. Let's see, I don't think I do. Which can use this blue. I want some blue on this side. Okay. And I'm going to cut. Okay, so this is going to be 5.5 by 6.5, I think. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut. Let me measure it. Okay, so yeah, 6.5 by 5.5, and I'm going to cut these at 6.25 by 5.25. Okay, and then of course you will cut two because you will need one for the front and one for the back. So let's add these. Place that right there. And then I'm going to cut this piece here. So this is going to be 5 3/4. So let's do the blue. Okay, so 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, and then we're gonna put that back there. Place these down. There we go. Again, love the layers. You will do another one. Let's just go ahead and add one more. So let me see if I can fit this piece. Probably a little too big, but okay. So I just want to see this come together. Oh, I love it. Okay, so yeah, so you'll add the paper back here. I'm gonna actually skip that so we don't make this video too long, but I just love these pocket closures. This closes that up. This just closes this up right here, and then we have the sliding pocket here, or sliding belt. I mean, I just love finding different ways to do closures. Okay, so now let's just simply decorate our cover. It's gonna be pretty flat. I do want this to be pretty easy to store and also be able to open flat as well. So I am going to use that. And I'm really loving this color, so I'm gonna use that too. And maybe the house will be cute. Okay, so let's use those. And okay, so we're gonna cut 2 pieces at 9 1/4 by 7 1/4. So I'm using this 9 1/4 by 7 1/4, and then I'm just gonna glue one on the back. So I'm gluing this one back here. Okay. That's gonna go there, and then I'm going to glue the one for the front. There we go. Now these measures, or we're gonna cut this opening there. So this is going to be 6. Okay, so maybe we can cut these at 6 by 7.5. And yeah, Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then I'm going to cut my houses at 7.25. Okay, let's cut like that. Okay, so and this is going to be by 5.75. Yeah, I just want a little outline and see my houses here. And there you go. Super cute. I love it. And so there you go. Let's do a quick final walkthrough of our fun little folio. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I really had so much fun creating this. So this measures 9.5 by 7.5. I will be adding something else here on the cover. I'm thinking maybe like an image of like a little animal, maybe a deer, or maybe just put a picture there and then call something, you know, a little title there. We'll see. But okay, so when we open this up, we have over here this pocket, and then this opens up like that, and then here we have some cascading pages that I will be finishing this up and doing maybe another walkthrough so you can see it all complete with the papers. Then over here we have this little pocket comes out. We have this little place for pictures. This opens up. Then this opens down again, place for picture. It opens down again. So super cute. I love how this page came out. Then back here, this just simply opens like that, and then it opens to the side. Then places for pictures there, so you can put pretty much 4x6s on this side. And then we have our belt opening, and then this opens down and it opens up, and we have our large pocket, so you can add even more formats in there. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. Again, I do have a cutting guide link on my description box. So I want to say also special thanks to everyone who attended my Mother's Day live event. It was so much fun, so thank you once again. And if you missed it and you want to rewatch the event or the live class, I went ahead and listed that as well as a video class, and I also added the cutting guide for that as well now, and it includes the free digital collection with the replay. And I hope that you guys enjoy making this book with me, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.